Good morning from day 52. Surprise! I'm back on trail. So the last video you saw from me was day 49, where I got off at Salmon's Gap in North Carolina or Tennessee, whatever state it's in, and rode home back to Pennsylvania with Jordan. I know I made some Instagram posts. Some of you might have already known I was off trail before the day 49 video went live. In fact, I know some people knew because not only of comments of support, but my subscriber count went down. But yeah, I've had a couple days to do some really deep, personal reflection on why I set out on this journey in the first place, what I want out of it. I've done a lot of talking with Jordan, and I've talked to some through hikers from 2021, and while everything that I said in my post on Instagram and in my last video about Jordan being my greatest adventure and home being where I'm truly happy, that's all still true, but I just didn't feel like I was done yet. And I might still be done, but I felt like it was possible that I had made a decision that was emotionally charged, given that I was saying goodbye to Jordan and he had just been there and I had just been home, and I felt like I wasn't 100% confident in my decision. You know, I kept trying to scheme up ways to get back on trail once I was home, and I just didn't feel ready to give up on the goal of doing what I set out to do just yet, without knowing that I gave it 110% and every chance possible. Throughout the day today, I'll talk to you a little bit about, what types of thoughts I was having that led me back here. But I decided to give it one more shot, taking a different approach. So rather than going no-bow from where I left off, like I was gonna do, I'm just picking up where I left off in Pennsylvania, and going sobo with my full pack and without Jordan, not doing the slack packing or shuttles or anything like that. I'm just setting out for backpacking and putting myself in as similar of an experience as I would have out here, if I were to get back on in North Carolina and stay on. So I am backpacking. My goal is to be out here for at least a week, just to try the trail back on for size again, see how I feel. That way I can have some clarity and peace, either knowing that the decision to get off trail was what I truly wanted, or maybe it'll feel better doing it this way, and I'll keep going. And as of right now, I'm focusing on the more short-term goals, like, all right, first and foremost, 16 miles today, minimum, maybe more. Tomorrow, getting a dunk cannon, and in a week finishing PA, and in a week and a half getting to Harper's Ferry. And I'm just setting these small goals for myself rather than focusing on the big picture. And you know, if I get to Harper's Ferry and cross into Virginia, and I decide I'm done, then I'm done. But at least then I know I tried everything I could, truly, to make this work for me. So that's that. This has been a really long ramble, but I think that it's necessary to kick off this video, to follow up day 49. So I'll check in with you guys later. I'll fill you in some more about my thoughts and all that got me here back on trail, and I'll show you some of the views along the way. So see you later. I am about 1 3/4 miles from Route 443 where I got dropped off this morning, and there's snow. I wonder if this came yesterday. I know it rained and precipitated yesterday, and maybe it was cold enough here that it was actually snow. But yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe I just missed the Pennsylvania rocks so much when I got back to North Carolina that I just wanted to come back and keep walking over these rocks. No, but in all seriousness, the rocks haven't been bad, and I know the more south I keep going on the trail in the coming days, the less rocky it gets. I think 2 days from now I go through some farmland and pastures, so I think these rocks die off soon. But it just made me laugh that I was so excited to get back to North Carolina and Tennessee so I didn't have to deal with these rocks anymore. And here I am, back in PA, dealing with rocks. All right, guys, let's do story time. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. I did a lot of reflection about myself and my experiences so far on trail, specifically when I was going Nobo from Georgia, and when I got back on Nobo. And I think what one of my things might have been is that, so I'm a very introverted person, and historically I've not been great. This is getting really vulnerable, but I've not been great at making friends or keeping friends. And I think at this point it's turned, that's a me issue. But I know I have built up these basically impenetrable walls around me due to a history of being hurt or betrayed by friends or people who I thought were friends in the past. And this is dating back to middle school. So it's been a long history of friendship issues for me. And what that means for the trail, or meant for the trail, is that, I came out here hoping to meet people that shared similar interests, as far as hiking and liking being outside and doing all these things. And I would be hiking Nobo and, would maybe see a group of people that I thought I might want to try to be friends with, or a person that I might want to be friends with. And I would, at least what seemed like it to me, try to let down those walls just a little bit and put myself out there. And I know for other people, me letting down some of my walls is probably still pretty unnoticeable or closed off. And I I think a lot of people don't want to put out the effort to try to get to know someone who doesn't seem to be, on the surface at least, putting out any effort in return. Whereas for me, it did feel like I was putting out effort. But I was feeling a lot of feelings of rejection on trail, and feelings of not being good enough for people or not belonging. And it was very discouraging because, you know, I know the AT is the most social trail out there, and I was in the starting bubble, and when I returned, I was in like a bubble as well, and I was just feeling rejected and discouraged, and all of those insecurities were just flooding me, and it was making me not have fun because I was just worried about not being liked, or what my experience was going to be like, or being like that outsider or outcast that didn't have any friends or a trampoline or anything like that on trail. And I'm worried I let it get to my head, and that it might have played a more significant role in my decision to get off each time than I was aware of until yesterday or the day before. So that's partly why I'm deciding to do the trail how I'm doing it now, or give it a shot how I'm doing it, by going Sobo from PA, because I won't be around as many people. And, you know, when I do encounter the Nobo bubble, again, it'll only be, you know, people that I see for 1 or 2 nights at a time. And I say 2 nights because, you know, if we're in town or something. But I'm hoping that I won't have those feelings of rejection or not fitting in as frequently as I was having when I was going Nobo. I know flip-floppers and traditional Soboers, from what I've heard, are generally more, I don't know, laid back and not so focused on miles and like the competition aspect of everything, which was also a struggle for me because, you know, the people that I did feel like I could maybe keep opening up to that might be giving me a little bit more I don't know, time. We're wanting to start to do bigger miles, and I wasn't, and just, you know, feeling left behind isn't a good feeling either. So yeah, hoping going this way feels better and is better for my insecurities. And I know, you know, I'm not trying to run away from my insecurities. I still think that I'll face those out here. I think it just won't be so overwhelming or in my face all the time. So hopefully I'll be able to give myself more space and grace to process everything. So that's like the big thing I wanted to talk about. I gotta put on gloves because it's actually really cold out here. I just checked my hip belt thermometer and it's just above 30. I actually put my Sawyer in my inside my Melly because I had it on the outside of my pack. It's a brand new Sawyer. It hasn't had water through it yet, so I'm sure it's fine even if it gets too cold, but it's my third Sawyer. The one that I brought home from North Carolina with me a couple days ago, I left in the car inadvertently overnight, and it got to the low 30s or high 20s overnight that night, so I didn't want to trust it. I went to Aria yesterday and got a new Sawyer, which, by the way, if anyone from Sawyer is watching this, could you please just sell the filters by themselves without all that extra nonsense that comes with it, like the bags and the plungers and the inline connectors and all that. Like, I don't need all that. It's not environmentally friendly to have to buy that and throw it out every single time you need a new filter. I just want the freaking filter. So All right, I'll check in later. Got to put gloves on. See ya. All right, back to your regularly scheduled programming for now. So if any of you have looked at Gut Hook or Far Out for this area of Pennsylvania, you know there is a beaver dam. Is Roush Creek area, and there's some crazy beavers here that dammed up the creek and flooded the trail. So there's a sign here just alerting us of that. Beaver dam ahead, water crossing. There is an alternate blue blaze that circumvents the flooded area, but it's 1.6 miles, whereas going straight through is only like point something miles. I checked the comments on Far Out just yesterday, and there were some recent ones saying that you can get through the dammed up area without getting wet. You know, especially if you're using trekking poles and just being careful. I have a lot of experience up in the Adirondacks, crossing some pretty deep mud bogs and staying dry and mud free. So I'm gonna give the dam a go. All right, so this looks like the start of the beaver dam area. I just passed a no-bower, Stealth, who just came through here. He said it's a little interesting. Takes some like crazy moves, but he stayed dry. So here's to hoping I do as well. I'll update you on the other side. This looks like a big yikes. I guess this is probably the worst of it. So here I go. Phone's going away for it. All right, I made it through the worst of the beaver dam. The rest of it is this way, and it looks like it's a pretty dry path. So I think I got through the worst of it. My feet got a little bit wet, like where the like some of those logs right there just sunk a little bit in the water. The worst part was, let's see, I'm trying to see where my finger is, like right here. That's where my feet got the most wet. But yeah, only a little wet. They'll definitely dry throughout the day. So this little bridge right here is a great piece of wood, but the leap from the end of it to over there is a way too long, I think, for anyone really. I don't know how anyone could make that leap. So yeah, luckily there's lots of little logs. I'm sure people have put them there to help get across. But yeah, wasn't bad. Hey everyone, thought I'd do a check-in with you. First of all, yeah, there's just been like constant snow on the trail, which has me worried for camp, if I'm gonna be able to find a good spot to set up my tent that isn't on snow. But if not, I suppose I'll just have to put my tent on snow. Anyway, I am 14.25 miles in for the day. I'm currently going downhill towards, I think it's like Clark Valley Road or something like that. That's only a couple miles away. And then I have a moderate, for Pennsylvania, uphill at the end of my day to my planned tent site, and this is based on, it's like an unofficial tent site that's listed on Far Out. So I'm hoping that it's decent, because the shelter is quite a ways further past this tent site, and there's nothing else between the tent site and the shelter. And I'll be up on a ridge, so not really sure about stealth spots up there. But anyway, total for the day, I think I misspoke earlier. The total for the day, if I stop at this tent site that I'm planning on, is 17.7 miles, which will be my biggest day, mileage-wise. Which didn't seem like the smartest thing to do, but I originally was gonna camp at like 12 point something miles, which didn't seem like enough, and it's a good thing I didn't, because I walked by there at like noon. But yeah, that's the day so far. I'm not feeling great. I spent a lot of my time listening to an audiobook that I was gifted. It's a really good audiobook. It's called Untamed by Glennon Doyle, and I relate to it a lot. And it's got some good messages. But before I started listening to it, and then just now, I have been trying to think about like how I'm feeling at the moment and what I want to do. And if I'm being honest, I kind of just don't want to be here anymore. I kind of want to go home. Yeah, but I'm gonna at least stay out the night. I'm going to try to push the 16.5 I have planned into Duncannon tomorrow, and I'm gonna stay at kind of outdoorsy like I was planning on, and I'll go from there. But at the moment, I'm kind of feeling validated with my decision that I made, because I don't know if I'm feeling it. I'm in pain. I can barely walk today. I don't know what my problem is, but yeah, my arm's hurting, so I will check in with you later. Alright, so I just crossed Route 325, which is like Clark Valley Road or something like that. It is, what time is it? About 2:30, and I am over 16 miles in for the day. The tent site that I'm planning on staying at is 1.7 miles from here. Far Out says that there is room for some tents at that Kinter view that's 4 miles from here, but there's also rattlesnakes around there, and even though it's cold today, or was cold, I don't know that I want to hope for the best and go there, and I definitely can't make it another 6.7 miles to the shelter. It crossed my mind at one point that I might try to, but 6.7 miles just seems very far-fetched for me right now. I'll have 16.5 into Duncannon tomorrow if I stay at this tent site. So, I mean, it would be nice to cut off 6.7 and have only 10 miles to Duncannon tomorrow, but yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But we'll see how I feel at the top of this push, and what time it is. I would imagine it probably won't be much after 3:30 by the time I get up there and to camp, but 6.7 miles would probably take me another 3 hours at least, and I would like to just relax, so I think I'll just stay at my tent site and not overdo it and kill myself. My Achilles are kind of screaming at me, and like the bottoms of my feet, so I should not go too crazy. All right, I'll see you at camp. All right, I'm just under half a mile from where this unofficial tent site is supposed to be. There wasn't snow on this side of like the road crossing until I got up to this ridge, but it's still pretty sparse. So I'm hoping that the tent space is dry, or at least there's a spot that's dry that I could put my tent. Supposedly there's like a fire ring and stuff, so hopefully I don't walk right by it. And I've been looking at these trees that I've been going by and really hoping that there's a good tree to hang my bear bag from at camp, because a lot of these trees don't have branches that stick out like down low enough to be able to throw a rucksack. So we will see what happens. But yeah, I'm at 17.5 miles now, and this officially makes it my longest day on the AT, and I'm definitely feeling it. The elevation gain wasn't bad. I mean, it is over 3,000 feet of gain still, but it wasn't terrible. But I'm definitely just like tired and ready to be at camp. So I do not believe I will be pushing any further. The only reason I would is if this tent site just completely sucks, but I don't think it will. The comments are pretty good on it, so I'll check in when I get there. What's up, guys? I am at camp, and it's been a struggle since I got here. So first I took so long to pitch my tent because the ground is like an inch or two of dirt and then just rock underneath. So I struggled to find a spot where I could get my tent stakes in. Finally found one. It was a little more difficult as well because there's some dead trees around here. So actually choosing a tent spot was difficult in and of itself, and then let alone finding a spot I could put my stakes in. So finally got my tent pitched. Luckily it's not supposed to be windy tonight because some of the stakes aren't really in that well, but it's not supposed to be windy, so it should be fine. And then I walked around for probably 30 minutes trying to find a branch to do my bear hang on, and eventually I just gave up. I tried one branch, but I couldn't throw that high, and there was a lot of like brush around, and I was afraid I was just gonna get my rucksack stuck in the tree. So I walked around, yeah, for 30 minutes and eventually said F it and found a branch that's absolutely too low. Like probably a baby bear could get my bear bag off of this tree tonight, but it's far enough away from my tent that I won't worry about it. And if I wake up and my bear bag's gone, then it is what it is. It's 1.7 miles back north to the road that I crossed to get here. I could always go back and have Jordan pick me up. Or I can just hike the 16 miles to Port Clinton with no food, which would be a terrible idea. There's my tent anyway. And yeah, I am going to make some dinner and then settle in my tent for the evening. I have great cell service here, so Jordan's gonna call me a little bit later, and then I'm gonna work on editing some videos. The bugs here are also really annoying. Just everything about camp tonight is annoying me, and I think it's just because I'm irritable. Anyway, if I go to Duncannon tomorrow, which I will be unless my bear bag is stolen by a bear, I'm going to be staying at kind of outdoorsy hostel tomorrow night. Yeah, I feel like I'm rambling.